some of the fears that older men will face in being with a younger woman. So that's what I want to discuss today, is some of the reasons why single older men tend to stray from younger women. And I was talking to one of my girlfriends, and we were talking about age gap relationships, and I mentioned to her, like, oh yeah, some older men, like, they genuinely will fear, because they have told me this, they genuinely fear having a younger woman, because what if she just doesn't, like, what if one day she realizes that that's not what she wants anymore? And she just couldn't believe that. She couldn't believe that, like, that was a reason why. She had no idea. And I genuinely forget that other people don't realize a lot of these realizations. And then I have a client of mine that I work with, and she dates men who are older, and in her culture it's very, very normal. And so she was asking me some questions when I was coaching her, and I, again, that reason, some of these reasons came up on a few different reasons as to why older men will fear being with younger women, even though biologically they are drawn to them. And this is not to say that all older men want to be with a younger woman. Of course not. There are many older men who, they need a woman who is their age. But this is just more so for the to help comfort the guys that do tend to be more drawn to the younger, childlike part of themselves that they find in these younger women. And when I say the age dynamic, I am not talking about the extremities of sugar babying and sugar daddy and all of that, which I will get into that. But I'm not talking about those crazy narratives that culture tries to paint to us. I'm more so talking about stable people, level-headed people who genuinely want a real relationship and real commitment with another human being. So, going back to the first thing I mentioned, reason number one being that they fear that she will end up coming to terms with the fact that he's older and find another man who is younger and hotter and more equipped for her and her lifestyle. This is a very real fear that men with more of the age gap and more happen to have more optionality, that they genuinely fear that this young, beautiful woman that they have seemed to caught the attention of, she will eventually leave him for somebody who is hotter and better looking and has more money. There is always going to be better options out there. The grass is always going to be, or appear to be, more green on the other side. But with bigger age gaps, these are going to be natural fears that come up, not only for the man, but also for woman too. And so the next reason why older men will fear a younger woman is because they fear not being able to be sexually compatible with a younger woman for, a long extended period of time. And it's kind of, this is a Western phenomena to, have this health that decreases more and more and more as you get older and become old, sick, and decrepit. When you become older, that's the narrative that the West has really, really done a great job of promoting to us. And the truth is that a lot of men are struggling with their sexuality because of a lot of the things that we do here in the West. Their testosterone levels are suffering greatly because of medications that they take. Of course, relationship skills do play a big part in it. But foods that they are consuming here in America, the standard American diet is absolutely destroying men's vitality and testosterone levels. And when men have low testosterone, they're gonna struggle with their sexual parts, and being able to have a healthy sex drive. And so not being able to please a woman in that aspect, especially when, they marry her, it's a very, very big deal for them. Okay. It's an attack on their manhood. It's an attack on their masculinity. So another fear that they have is not being able to keep up and not being able to take care of her, in the long run. So being that he's going to get older, she's going to get older, you're always going to be growing and evolving with one another. Eventually, because he's so far ahead of her in the age game, he fears that what if one day he just can't keep up anymore? He's not able to live the life that he once could when he was a bit younger. And then she ends up having to more so nurture him and take care of him, and whatever maybe illnesses or diseases that come upon him, rather than him, being in his full manhood of taking care of her and the family that they may or may not create together. That's also another huge attack on their masculinity, because a young, vital, healthy woman is going to want to be with a man who is vital and healthy. It just so happens that when men get to their greatest optionality, it happens to be in their 40s and 50s, when they have the most financial resources, they have the most stability, they have the most maturity. That's their greatest optionality. And for women, their greatest optionality is in their, late 20s, early 30s, that sort of range, because they have the most fertility and beauty. So the fear of having the much, much higher chance of passing on first and leaving the family alone, that is a very real fear. And another huge reason that they fear age gap relationships is because he's been westernized. Due to Hollywood culture and social media phenomenons, they fear being judged, right? There's this huge narrative of sugar baby, as I was saying earlier, and sugar daddy. That whole thing of, if you're with a younger woman, then she's only after your money. She'll use you up and spit you out. She's not really she's not actually loving you for you. She just wants you because you have money and you're not actually a real human being with feelings. She just wants to use you and spit you out because she's superficial. I mean, this is really the narrative of older, rich, young, wants the money. That is very true to a certain extent, okay? But we're not stepping back and understanding the whole picture. Older men have more of a need for companionship than ever before in their life, because their estrogen levels naturally will increase. So they have more of an inclination to be more attracted to the childlikeness and the motherly nature of a younger woman who is mature. Obviously, we're not talking about a 20-year-old. I'm like I said, I'm talking about like level-headed, healthy individuals coming together who happen to have an age gap, okay? But the fear of being judged is very, very real, especially here in the West. And in other cultures, it's very not thought twice about. You know, it's normal that the power dynamic is older man, younger woman. But as far as for here, because we are literally programmed that older means she's after your money. And for him, it means you're hot and sexy. He only wants you for your body. Because that is so programmed into us. Because we type online and we see all these dating websites called sugar daddy dating and seeking arrangements and all of that. It's a real fear. It's a real fear. And men, at the end of the day, they don't want to have this idea or persona attached to them that they are a bad person. And because that is the narrative being sold, they decide to just completely detach themselves from the whole idea overall. So do I think that there are older men who are more than willing and happy to be with a younger woman? Of course, they will more than willing be in a partnership with them. But when it comes to marriage and having it set in stone, that's a whole different ball game. And a lot of them will tend to completely stay away from that whole idea. So anyways, you know, I've studied men for a long time, and being someone as myself who naturally is more drawn to age gap relationships, and age gap relationships run in my own family, so it's something very normal for me. I've realized a lot of things, and I've heard a lot of things that these older men pitch to me, and I think it's very real fears. And I think I happen to be someone who has a lot of grace and understanding for it. But there are women out there who really need help with this information because they don't quite understand and kind of can feel a sense of a loss of self-worth when they're not getting the outcomes that they desire out of their age gap partnership. So I'm going to leave off with this. One, I always encourage women to date older. And it does not have to mean you date age gap, but, you know, a good 5 years is even good enough. If he's 5 years older than you, even that's going to be something better for you, rather than someone more so in your age range. As you get older, it is more, the rules change. Your whole life changes as you get older. And age relationship dynamics also, those rules tend to change. But yes, I always encourage women to date at least 5 years older for herself. But nonetheless, the most important rule is that you ultimately end up with somebody who does not care about whatever the outer world is painting to him. All of these fears that are being mongered into his mind, or all of these fears that he's creating for himself out of natural fears just throughout life experiences. They've had a lot more life experiences, but finding someone who is not invested into being fear mongered, that is the most important quality for you to keep in mind when deciding on whether to marry a guy or not. Because when you go in with a lot of fears, that is just not setting yourself up for a healthy relationship dynamic. And anything is possible, okay? But being fear-mongered is going to inevitably cause so many issues in your relationship dynamic. So I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video, and make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that jazz. Subscribe here on YouTube, and check out my feminine dating course, because my feminine dating course is for those of you who need help navigating through your dating experiences. You need help practicing dating while you are in the search for your future husband. Dating can be very intimidating when all of your friends they don't know what they're doing, and they don't even understand the concept of duty dating. It causes a lot of natural anxieties for us as women. So I created that course for those needs specifically, and it has over 6 hours of content that I think that you guys are really going to enjoy and invest in. So I hope that was very helpful for you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah.